My spiritual gifts, are they blessings? Hello, y'all. I'm Dianna, Brianne. I don't give advice, suggestions, information, recommendations. I do give you my perspective on different topics. I hope you like, share, subscribe. All 5 channel names are pinned to the top of the comment section or the description box below. Well, my spiritual gifts. You know, my channel is motivational, wisdom, inspiration, and a lot of everything else. Okay, it's a fun channel too. And so I don't normally share spiritual thoughts. Well, they are spiritual thoughts because my motivation really comes from my spirit, and my inspirations come from my spirit. My wisdom comes from my spirit. I never give advice or suggestions or anything like that. But on a personal note, in my own personal life, I'm very spiritual, and I listen to what my soul receives, I believe, is how I would put it. And I have had what I call the gift of knowing, and I've talked about that, where I know something, and I have no way really of knowing it. I have no real way that I would know it because it's not around me, or I can't see it, or whatever. So it's a gift of knowing, and I've talked about that. But I also have something I call the electrical thing. It's really not all electrical, and I've talked about that in other videos where a lot of things will happen. It's more like I should change it. I think I'm going to change it and call it my GPS system, my navigation system, okay? And it's my spiritual navigation system. And I was talking to a friend one day, and I said to the friend, I said, you know, and well, before I said anything, she said, your gift is such a blessing. It's such a tremendous blessing. She knows me in person. She said, it is such a gift, such an incredible gift that you have. And I said to her, I said, thank you, thank you. And I called her back and I said, thank you, thank you, thank you for validating that. Because sometimes I have felt that this knowing, or this GPS, the knowing is a little bit different than what I call the, now I'm going to call it the GPS system. My warning. It sort of warns me of what's coming and either how to avoid it or how to navigate through it successfully. And it has kind of been with electrical things where in the past it was like, it would just seem like everything I touched short-circuited in some way, some which way. And it's not just electrical things, but things around me that don't normally happen, that are odd or strange occurrences that can take place. And right before my husband got sick, I had a lot of those. Right before I took sick, I had a tremendous amount of those. And, you know, I've talked about my husband's cancer, and I've talked about my when I got sick from allergic reaction. And I had about 2 weeks of these, just one right after the other, things occurring. And I stood here, actually right where I'm at, and I told my husband, I said, and I've told him both times, right in this spot, I said, that time I knew it was about me. And I said, I believe it's about me. I don't know what it is, but I believe it's about me. And then it was 2 or 3 days later, I took really sick with what we believe was an allergic reaction. I'm all better now, okay? And my husband was, when I stood here and told him, I said, I don't know what it is, but it's coming. And I did tell him specifically, more specific than what I'm telling you. And it was a very short time after that he was diagnosed with his cancer, and it was a pretty severe cancer. And I've talked a lot about his cancer and our journey with it, and how we're dealing with it, and he's doing really, 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 really well now. And so I talked about that. You know, I had no way of knowing that he had cancer. There's no way. And he had no idea. And it just was, it's a spiritual gift. But it was a number of these occurrences that kind of, I did one called, well, you could probably look back about the light that turned on and off. that was done on a Thanksgiving day. And there was 2 videos I did, but one that actually showed the light turning on and off. And then I did another one with, it was called My Guardian Angel Fell Over. And that was the one that occurred right before my husband took sick. I have this guardian angel, and actually I can show her to you real quick. And I don't have her in the same spot. She'd been in the same spot for 10 years. So now I have her kind of propped up here, but she'd never fallen down in 10 years. And there's my guardian angel. But she had for 10 years, she's a little lopsided there, but she had been up there, and she had been up there and on top of the clock. And then she fell over 3 times in one day. But there she is. I straightened her up a little bit, my guardian angel. And that had never happened in, the 10 years that she had been up on top of the clock. And so it was just, things like that. And I actually did a video on it. And this was prior to my husband being diagnosed. And it was right before. And so I had no idea what was coming. But it was just a lot of very, very spiritual type of things. And since I'm very, very spiritually fine-tuned, I pay attention to these. And I get them quite often. I had one today. And it can be about other people. It can be about anything. When it comes to other people, I usually don't say too much, but other than be safe, be careful, be mindful of your surroundings, things like that. I'll tell somebody, but I usually won't tell them that I've had one of these GPS warning signs, and often I'll know who it's for. Like I knew it was for a family member. I just didn't know what it was going to be, and I knew it was big. And then my husband got diagnosed with cancer. I knew when it happened for about almost 2 weeks. It was just continually. I knew that it was me that time. I knew it was me, and I told my husband that it was me, and I didn't know what it was. And so I was just being very mindful. And then I took suddenly sick, and so. The point I'm making is I kind of looked at my spiritual gift and I was like, God, why did you give me this gift? My belief, I'm just telling you what I believe. Remember, I don't give you facts or information. I just share with you how I live my life, and this is how I live my life. I'm just very, very spiritually fine-tuned in my life and always have been. And so I didn't always look at this as a gift that I wanted. Okay, to be honest with you. And now the gift of wisdom, motivation, I say, you hear motivation, inspiration everywhere you go, because I can have my notepad or my recorder with me, and I do. That's another one of my gifts, and that's a wonderful gift too. I mean, but the GPS warning is more of a I don't know, serious gift, although the knowing is more, it can be fun too, because I talked about how I met my husband and how that morning I knew I was meeting my husband, even though I hadn't met him yet, and I had no idea who he was or where he was going to come from or how it was going to happen. Go look up that video on how I met my husband. I think I did a couple different videos on that. Or the miracle house, how I said, we're moving, and I had no idea why. My husband said, we're not moving. And then about 10 or 20 feet under the house, I don't know how many feet it was, but it was a lot of feet, the tree branches broke the plumbing, and we had to immediately move. And we moved into what I call the miracle house. So you have to listen to that story. It's called the Miracle House, I believe. Just look it up on my channel videos. And so that's more the knowing, okay? The GPS thing, as I call it, is a way to navigate through or around situations, and it usually is something telling me something's not right, or something's, it's sort of like a weatherman he reads the weather stuff, and he knows that even though it's sunny out, there's a storm coming. It's sort of like that type of situation. So I know it sounds kind of goofy to talk about this, but we all have gifts. And I believe that everybody has the gift, these gifts at some level, but often some people are not as in tuned. I think all of us have many gifts that we never use, or we never even know that we have, because I think sometimes circumstances bring out our gifts. And so these are gifts that I've had my whole life, including wisdom, motivation, inspiration. It's just like everywhere I go, I write down my notes, I record them, and I have many, many gifts. And, the gift of hospitality. I'm a very warm, loving, caring person. So everybody has gifts. So look at your gifts and respect your gifts and know that they're a blessing, and never look at your gift as I kind of sort of did, like, well, why do I have this? Why do I don't always want to know that something's going to happen, and yet it protects us, and it's a navigation system, and it's a good thing. And my friend said it's a wonderful thing. It's a blessing for you to have that. And so I thought I'd come on here and talk a little bit off my normal motivation, inspiration, wisdom, or some of my silly, humorous videos, and just talk more of a personal side of, how I am as a person in my in-person life. And so I believe that everyone has spiritual gifts. You may have the spiritual gift of hospitality. You may have the spiritual gift of listening. My sister was an amazing listener. And you may have the spiritual gift of cooking or art, or everybody has gifts. We all have gifts. And a great pianist. Circumstances will sometimes bring out our gifts. And so, I've had these gifts my whole life, along with a lot of other amazing and wonderful gifts. And I think everybody is gifted. It's just a matter of whether a person utilizes their gifts, harnesses their gifts, are aware of their gifts, acknowledges their gifts, and develops their gifts. I don't think I really purposefully developed my gift, which just kind of grew with me as I grew throughout the years. So anyhow, I thought I would just come on here and share that with you. I know that people who are maybe not spiritual people may not understand that, and they may laugh at it or think it's ridiculous, but people who are more spiritual based often understand what I'm talking about. And so I just thought I'd come on here and talk beyond wisdom, motivation, and humor, and politics, because now I started talking a little bit about politics. I don't talk about it. I just usually give a question out and respectfully ask people to comment back, and just a general political question. And I kept politics off of my topic list until recently, and now I've kind of included that, but it's got to be done respectful by everyone in the comment section, just giving opinions about, whatever. And so anyhow, I hope you're doing well. May God bless you, and I hope to talk to you soon again. And I do hope you like, share, subscribe. Hope to talk to you then. Bye-bye.